Watch it now.
Let's get ready to rumble!
What a performance that was.
Wow, great viewers out there. It's time for Sportsville. My name is George Allo. I hope you are set to rotate with us. For us here, we are set to give you the best of sports on television. And I must tell you that my colleagues are here. Tony Ubani is here, and baby of the house, Oluchi Tobechuku, is equally here. Tobex, we call her. I must tell you that Nigeria football is on the rise again. We saw what Enyimba did on the home front against Kara, qualifying for the quarterfinals of the CAF Confederations Cup in style. First game in 3 years at the Aba Fortress, and it was a glorious return. We'll take a look at that on the show today. And then the big one, the Super Eagles away in Seychelles. ROHR has called up his army. We'll do an analysis of how these boys have been performing in our player scorecard today on the show, and then we'll talk other sports generally. So it's a loaded package, but let's start with this break. When we come back, then we'll give you top news. Don't go away. It is Sportsville. My name is George Allo.
Feel cool, fresh, every day. With the icy coolness of the new Premier Cool deodorant. Smell cool and feel fresh every day with Premier Cool. Cooler than cool.
All right, welcome back. You've just joined us. You've not missed much, I must tell you. Let me now start with top news, and we'll go straight to cricket, where the nation's under-19 cricket team has gained promotion into the International Cricket Council ICC Under-19 Division 1 League after emerging winners of the ICC Under-19 World Cup Qualifiers Division 2. The qualifier ended on Tuesday in South Africa, with Nigeria now qualifying for the ICC World Cup in 2020. That's a good one for Nigerian cricket. And on that cricket note, let me welcome baby of the house, Oluchi Tobechuku. Oluchi, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, George. It's a pleasure to be here. A good one coming from cricket. You catch them young and go to traditional schools, St. Gregory's College, St. Finbar's, Igbobi College. Those are schools that are grounded in sports like that.
I hope they still play cricket these days in those schools.
They do. That's why we have under 19 and other sports, coming up.
Okay, go to schools there, you catch them young, and Nigeria is doing well in cricket there without government support, I must tell you. So maybe government should begin to hands off our sports so that at the end of the day there won't be too much of crisis. From cricket, we'll go to rugby. Cowries will face the champions of South and South East League to determine the Southern representative in the Super Cup later in November, after coming top in the men's league. Tries from Captain Onoru Jato, Christian Oga and Heriani ensured they retained the Lagos Men's League title on Saturday at the Mumble of the National Stadium, Surulere, as they beat Gosa RFC 42-0. Gosa have been relegated and will now play in Division 2 next season. Good to hear that rugby is taking place at the Mumble of the National Stadium. If we can't play football there, at least we can play rugby there. On that note, let me welcome to the party.
The important thing is that there are activities at the Mumble of the National Stadium.
Rugby has taken over that stadium.
If possible, they can just use it for grazing. Because I must say that rugby is, rapidly growing in Nigeria, and I like the response. I like the way the officials are spreading it across the country, and indeed, you see the response from so many of these states, and that's exactly what we should not just concentrate only on one sport.
Exactly.
Because at the end, we can only just gain only one medal.
But Tony, there are no crises in sports like rugby, in cricket, and all that. Why is it only in football?
Because that's where the main cocoa day.
Okay, from rugby, let's take you to volleyball. 12 countries have confirmed participation at the 2018 Men's Under 21 African Nations Volleyball Championship that is taking place in Abuja from September 10 to 17. Vice President of International Volleyball Federation, Amer El-Wani, in a statement says host Nigeria, Egypt, who are the defending champions, Tunisia and Congo are ready to take part in the event. Others are Chad, Burkina Faso, Rwanda, Guinea, Botswana, Niger, Cameroon, and Morocco. So Abuja will come alive with volleyball, Loluchi.
Indeed, Abuja will come alive, and I'm happy that volleyball too, as a sport, is trying to find its way back to the glory days, you know, when the sport was very popular in Nigeria. And I'm happy, you know, that all these lesser sports, they are taking the bull by the horns, whether our government support or not. They are doing everything possible from the federation, you know, to make sure that, you know, people embrace these sports. And I'm happy, I'm really happy for that feat.
Okay, as Abuja bubbles, that reminds me of the days of Edi Aderioku, the man who made volleyball tick in Lagos. The glory days are coming back. From volleyball now, we'll take you to table tennis, and we must say kudos to Haruna Kadri, because on Tuesday he put smiles on the faces of students of SOS Children's Village in Isolo, Lagos. Accompanied by his wife, Ganiat Haruna, the 2018 ITTF Challenge Seamaster Nigeria Open champion, said he decided to show his compassion for the less privileged, as he had to go through thick and thin to become what he is today. Haruna Kadri donating food items to SOS. Tony, I think that's a good one.
Very, very splendid one, George. Just as you are saying it, it just reminded me of Lucky Dube. You know, wow. Blessed is the hand that give it, yes, than the one that receive it. And that's exactly, there is nothing as in giving. When you give, George, you get more. And I think that the prayers of those children who are abandoned, who have no parents, who have no mothers, you know, will definitely uplift Kadri in his chosen profession.
All right, congratulations, Haruna Kadri. There, we're happy that you are touching lives. From table tennis, we take you to badminton. President of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria, Francis Obi, has unveiled plans for periodic town hall meetings with all stakeholders in the country. He said this will cut across all the 6 geopolitical zones. According to Obi, the interactive sections will involve administrators, coaches, players, clubs, sponsors, and other enthusiasts of the game, so that at the end of the day, everybody will be on the same page in basketball. I think Oluchi, this is a good one.
It's a very good one. You need to carry people along.
Come to this town hall meeting and say your mind.
Say your mind. They learn from each other, and they are able to, as he said, be on one page as regards the various sports that they like.
Okay, that's a good one coming from badminton and innovation. I must tell you that from there we'll bring you to the league, the Nigerian Professional Football League, that has been on break. Affected by the crisis. It was on break during the World Cup, and then the crisis in the NFF affected it. But now the LMC has taken a decision that the season has ended with March 24 games, and Lobi have been crowned champion, and they will be representing Nigeria in the CAF Champions League next season. Tony, this is an interesting one coming from LMC.
Interesting and surprising indeed. You know, just because the league didn't run its full course. You know, but since we are in a democratic setting, if that's exactly what all of the clubs and their management, yes, you know, decided, I think what they do is just for the best interest of the country. But if you ask me, I think somehow when you do not run the real course, it might come to haunt you. You know, in terms of going for the Champions League. But all the same, what we need to do is just for us to, you know, do the calendar so that it can just.
That is exactly what they are trying to do. It can
just be a calendar that it's the same thing all over the world. Exactly. So that during international competitions, everything will just fall in place.
Okay, that is the decision of LFC and club owners. They took that decision after a meeting in Abuja last week, and here we are with it. At your cup, we'll be waiting for who will be flying Nigeria's flag in the CAF Confederations Cup. You know, Enyimba are campaigning there this season, and they've entered into the quarterfinal stage. Let's take a break now. After this top news, when we come back, we'll talk about Enyimba, the People's Elephant, their return to their fortress in Aba. I hope you enjoy Sportsville. Don't go away. All right, welcome back. I hope you're enjoying Sportsville. We'll talk about Enyimba now. We saw them against Kara of Brazzaville. They qualified for the quarterfinals. That was their first game in 3 years at the Enyimba International Stadium. 20,000 capacity stadium, brand new grass, wonderful ambience, and we saw the celebration that followed that victory against Kara. Oluchi, you saw it?
Yes, I did. It was something that the people of Aba, they've been waiting for 3 years. They saw it come. You could see their mood even after the final whistle. It was a kind of victory that everybody has been longing for. Like my very good coach, Club of Liverpool, you know I'm a Liverpool fan, will always say, even if you win 1-0, as long as the 1-0 comes 5 times, that is what matters. And that was what Enyimba did. It was the maximum points we were gunning for. They got it. We are happy, and we say congratulations to them.
Congratulations to Enyimba. Tony, you saw that pitch invasion. I think I saw it coming because the way that last-minute goal came off the substitute, Alalade Wasiu, it was wonderful.
Yeah, I think to you it was wonderful. No matter the emotions, no matter the joy, no matter what it took, for Enyimba to succeed, or for the triumphant return of Enyimba to that amazing, incredible stadium, I will describe it as, George, it's not enough. It has exposed that we are not ready for security measures. That's just one thing, and that is why CAF is equally going to look at the tapes, and that a hammer might even come from CAF for that. That's the more reason why we must always be careful. Before matches, there should be announcements over and over again. I know that the people have waited. It's just like going to the promised land, and then almost everybody made it. In the Bible, not everybody that started the race saw the promised land. But here at the International Stadium, Enyimba, you know how passion, the passion that drives almost everybody in
Only those who were outside the stadium were more than those.
That's exactly what I'm saying, Joe. The more reason why the management of Enyimba, Nigeria Football Federation, should have tightened security. And of course, we all know how these things are done, using your word, how these things are constructed. You must make announcements over and over again, so that people will, if you allow passion to drive you, you'll be crucified. That will be the passion of Jesus Christ.
Well, Enyimba, they made it to the quarterfinals. On September 8th, they will have they will be going away first and return home in 2 weeks' time. We hope that when they come home for the quarterfinals, the fans will be educated more, because Enyimba cannot afford to be sanctioned now that they are back at their fortress. And talking about representing Nigeria, we will be waiting for their two cup to see who represents Nigeria in the CAF Confederation Cup next season. Yes,
we'll be waiting for them, because it doesn't matter how far or well Enyimba goes. We've already lost our slots in the continent due to the poor performances of the various clubs that represented us, last season, or if I will say this season.
This season, so to speak.
But I would also like to say that I think the LMC, their hands were tied, as
in taking that decision.
Because it's actually the club owners, that came out and made the decisions. Without the various clubs, there won't be any LMC to run the league, so they must, actually abide by.
Do you agree with that decision? Are you comfortable with it? Tony said it's a good one. Save the clubs more trouble. Prepare for next season. Lobby that are on top should take the title.
Yes. Considering the time, unless we want to give away our continental slots, to make sure that the league runs into conclusion, now.
Yes.
So there was no way we could meet up, with the deadline that was given. You will see that initially LMC came out with a kind of schedule that they thought that
very tight timetable,
3 matches in a week. It was very impossible for the clubs, to run that kind of fixtures or schedule, as it were. And at the end of the day, they came up with this option. But one important thing, George, that I must hammer on is that the fact that we allowed our league to go on a 1-month break during the World Cup. And the circulars.
Let Tony come in here. Fine, we went on break during the World Cup, but the league would have resumed if not for the NFF crisis.
Yeah, exactly. I think that one.
So the challenge was not the World Cup.
I think, George, in the football terms, I think I would say that it's a force majeure.
Force majeure.
So there was nothing anybody could have done about it, except for all these human errors. That we all knew that really held our sports or football to the jugular, and we are grateful that all these things are have been sorted out, if truly they have been sorted out.
They've been sorted out.
There are a lot
Some people are still kicking.
There are still musings around, but I think to talk about the abridged league.
I still see people bringing out releases as
yes.
SA to
yes, I
NFL
think
president.
It's we are shameless. People just do things because of the fact or where they, last time I talked about bonuses and allowances. We cannot just sell our hearts
because of
over porridge. Over porridge. George, having said that, I think to me it's a very good decision. The abridged league, we've really been drumming for that for a very long time, knowing how bad or how terrible our roads are. The cost effect that it attracts to all the clubs, and of course the danger of our players having accidents almost every time. Abridged league, yes, north and south. At the end, let the best from the north and south come, so that we just get it helps our league, and it allows the players to rest and get better, and our league will definitely prosper. That's, to me, the club owners, I give them kudos. They are the ones that are in charge of LMC. Is just only a headmaster, and if you do not have pupils, the school cannot prosper. Okay,
LMC and club owners, they've taken that decision. The league will, for 2018-2019 season, will start in November with an abridged league. 12 clubs from the south, 12 clubs from the north, and then after that they will come for the Super League, where the final league champions will emerge. So that's it for the league, and we'll say that now that everything has been sorted out, we look forward to Nigeria getting quality representative. Lobby Stars will be playing the CAF Champions League. We'll just be waiting for who would be joining Enyimba, hopefully, if Enyimba wins the CAF Confederations Cup in Africa next season. Let's take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk about the Super Eagles and the Battle of Seychelles. All right, welcome back. We are now on part 2 of the show, and like we told you, we'll talk about the Battle of Seychelles. ROHR has named his 24-man squad, and the season in Europe is just starting, where our players are coming from. Ole Ikechukwu Ezemwa will be going from home, and that is Enyimba International's only player. But talking about our goalkeepers, Francis Uzoho, he is 19. He has moved on to Elche of Spain. His new club, no action yet. And then Daniel Akpayi, 32, Chippa United of South Africa. 3 games he has had 270 minutes of action. And Ikechukwu Ezemwa, like I told you, 29 years, Enyimba International. He wasn't imposed for Enyimba because Theophilus Afolokai has been wonderful in post. And Ikechukwu Ezemwa told me after the game against Kara that Theophilus is like a brother to him, so he's happy that he's manning the post. Tony, that is our goalkeepers.
Yeah, George, I think in Ezemwa I so much trust in terms of his character, in terms of his clean heart. He's just one player that is satisfied that he doesn't place his priority on himself. He places his priority on the victory of the team. And that's just one good thing that happens. I so much love his heart. The fact that Afolokai is doing well and he's equally happy. And I think he's enjoying his time. And he's a very good goalkeeper. Uzoho, we all knew, ROHR has been praising him to high heavens. And he has changed clubs. And we expect that will also rub off for his performances. Going to Seychelles, with these goalkeepers, I think we'll go to Seychelles and come back, with a Seychelles dance.
Okay, Seychelles dance. Let's put our fingers crossed and hope that Eagles will come out of this unscattered. That will give you the scorecard of the goalkeepers. In the defense line, you have Olaoluwa, 21 years. He plays for Torino, Italy. 2 games he had 131 minutes of action. Then Brian Udowu of Lokomotiv Moscow, no action yet. Chigozia Wazim is in Portugal, no action yet. Then William Trost-Ekong, 24 years, Udinese of Italy, 2 games, 180 minutes of action. Leon Balogun, 30 years of age, Brighton in the EPL. They are just moved on to EPL. 2 games, he had 160 minutes of action. Kenneth Umoria is not in Spain, no actions yet. Semiu Ajayi, the new boy, 24 years, he plays his club football for Rotterdam, and 5 games, he's had 450 minutes of action. And Jamil Collins, another newcomer, 24 years, he plays his club football in Germany, 3 games and 270 170 minutes of action. I think that's our defense line, Oluchi.
Yes, a continuation of most of the players that went to Russia, and a sprinkle of new players, and I trust that Raw understands his players and he knows that this is a match that we need victory. I'm happy that players like Leon Balogun, they've been able to move club and they've tasted the EPL. Not forgetting Trist Ekon going to Udinese in Italy. When you play with top players like Ronaldo that just moved to Italy too, it gives you confidence. Exactly. When you even go out in international matches, and all this kind of exposure and experience will certainly rub us on us. We have a Jamilu Collins, that is in Germany. You will agree with me that Raw likes doses of players, playing in Germany. I also do not gouge his not having more than one player from the local league. We've been on break for so long. So I'm just happy that with this set of players, what we just need is the technical bench making the right interpretations at the right time.
Okay, from that we go to the midfield. Ogeyo Nazi is still there, 25 years of age. He plays his club football in Turkey. 3 games he's had 270 minutes of action. Wilfred indeed is doing very well with Leicester. He has played 3 games. Ogene Karo Etebo is doing well with Stoke City too in England. He has played 5 games, 202 minutes of action. John Ogud in Israel, 3 games, 270 minutes of action. Joel Obi in Chievo, Italy, 2 games. Kelechi Nwakale, who is another newcomer, 20 years of age, Porto of Portugal, 3 games and 170 minutes of action. That is the midfield, and these are very active players. And then from there we'll go to the attack, where you have Ahmed Musa, the man that is in Saudi Arabia, Alaji they call him now. He's doing very well out there in Saudi Arabia. Kelechi Iheanacho is equally doing well for Leicester City. He has started for Leicester in 2 games, 4 games. He has had 250 minutes of action. Odion Igalo is beginning to score goals in China. Chanju Yatai, he did not score goals for us in Russia, but in China he has scored 7 goals, and we hope that he will translate that to goals in Seychelles. Alex Iwobi is equally doing well in Arsenal. He has played 2 games, 121 minutes of action. Simeon Nwankwo from Italy, we saw him very little, 3 minutes in Russia, and he has played 1 game, 56 minutes of action in Italy there for his club. Samuel Carlo, another newcomer from Bordeaux, France, 180 minutes of action. And then Harry Onyekuru, who mixed out because of injury. Galatasaray, 3 games, 257 minutes of action, and he has scored 2 goals. Tony, that is the midfield and attack.
Yeah, George, I think like you said, all the players are beginning to be getting a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what players really need. If you look at the midfield, look at the attack, yes, we really need very sharp shooters, people that could just get goals. Victor Moses has stepped aside, and that also will now ginger a lot of interest and competition in the team. And Ahmed Musa, that is in Saudi Arabia, I do not so much reckon with Saudi Arabia. I think that for a man,
I hope that will put him on the bench.
Yeah, for a man, I do not. It depends on the love of the coach. The coach has so much love for him. He did absolutely well for Nigeria at the World Cup. And for Odion Igalo, that is red hot, in China. In China, the Chinese team, I do not know what has really happened to him. He always plays very well. He has that, bullish nature. But once he comes to the national team,
he becomes a different
the type of misses that he has had in the past, I do not know if those ones come to torment him, that he could not just translate. But if he continues the way he's going, and of course Seychelles, we should not be so much worried. If not that Nigerian football has kissed the grass. Seychelles, George, it's a team that we could as well take a club side to go and play and win.
All right, we'll just hope that the Super Eagles will get it right against Seychelles, because we must qualify for AFCON 2019 in Cameroon. We've not been part of the last 2 editions. This one is a must for Nigeria. Well, my producer is telling me that time is up, not our friend again. It's time to go. On that note, let me say thank you to Oluchi Tobejuko for coming to Sportsville.
Thank you so much, George. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm also saying congratulations to Barrister Sheyi Akinwumi for giving back to the society. Yesterday and today, it is for the under 20.
Under 13 by Kiwobi Charity Foundation. I think that's a good one, Tony.
George, I'd say very, very big congratulations to Samuel Eto'o, who has once again demonstrated, the type of love he has for his fellow players, buying a house for a former captain of, indomitable lions
who lost everything.
Who has lost everything and of course cannot even feed or even pay his hospital bills. There is always love in giving, Judge.
There is love in giving. That has been demonstrated by Etu, that has been demonstrated by our own barrister Kiwumi, and that has equally been demonstrated by Aruna Kadri. On that lovely note, we'll say bye-bye and God bless.